Hi, sixth grade. This video is going to be all about finding the volume of a liquid. And really it's going to be nice and short because you've done a lot of the difficult work in figuring out how to use a graduated cylinder first. Now really we just have to put the liquid into the graduated cylinder and use the information that we've already had from our last video to get our answer. So we are going to be using graduated cylinder for our tool. And we know from the last video that our units that we're going to be using for finding the volume of a liquid is going to be milliliters. So our first step here is we want to get a graduated cylinder. And we talked about how we want to always set that graduated cylinder on a flat surface. And then we have to get it eye level. So I'm not going to be able to show you that today on the video, but we talked about it last time. And that's just because my table's way down here and my webcam's way up here. So we'll get it eye level, and then we simply read the volume from the bottom of the meniscus. So if I had given you this graduated cylinder here, we can see that the graduations are going up by 1. And there's actually 4 sub-graduations in between those. So using the information that we learned from the last video, we would actually need to figure out what our sub-graduations are going up by. So I'm going to take 5, which is, you can see that my meniscus here is in between the 4 and the 5. So I'm going to subtract those 2 graduations. So 5 minus 4 is 1. Then I'm going to count the number of spaces in between, which is 5. So I'm going to take my answer here, and then I'm going to divide by 5. A lot of people get confused by this. They'll tell me that 1 divided by 5 is 5, or 1 divided by 5 is 1. But if you would to actually double check that and count up, if we started at 4 and we counted by 1s, that would be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That doesn't match the number that's right here. That's a 5. So we could tell right away that that's not correct. So what you really need to watch for is if this first number is smaller than the second number, you know that we're actually working with a fraction. So we're going to end up with a decimal. And 1/5 as a decimal is 0.2. So if we count up by 0.2s, we start with 4, 4.2, 4.6, or sorry, 4.4, 4.6, 4.8, 5. That matches up, so I know that I actually have this right. So then I'm going to put my graduated cylinder down on my desk here, and I'm going to get, I don't know if you can see it, down on my desk, so my flat surface. Then I'm going to get down at eye level with it, and we're going to see that the bottom of the meniscus here is actually at 4.6. So the volume of my liquid is 4.6 milliliters. So if you wanted to write this practice problem down, you could on a sheet of notebook paper or wherever you wanted to, but if you understand the process, especially because we did a lot of the work figuring out how to read graduated cylinders in the last video, you don't have to. So I will be looking for, with volume of a liquid, just your answer. So you should have your number, and then you should have your units behind. Then we talked about, like, this would be if I already put the liquid in your graduated cylinder. When you guys are measuring your recipe ingredients, you're actually going to have to put the ingredients into the graduated cylinder. So the way that we do that in order to get a really accurate measurement, say that you need to get 5 milliliters of vanilla extract, the tool that we actually use is a pipette. So you use this in, some of you used it in your oil spill lab. So how you use it, so I put my liquid in my cup here that I'm going to be squeezing out. You squeeze your pipette, and then you put it down into the liquid, and you keep it down there and slowly release until it completely fills. You don't want to get a whole bunch of air in there. And then you just take your graduated cylinder, kind of angle it a little bit, and put your pipette down there and just squeeze it in. And this will get us the exact measurement. So if I needed exactly 3 milliliters of liquid there, I could go in drop by drop. So I might fill it up until it gets close and then take and use my pipette. And so again, you're going to want to put this on a flat surface and get down at eye level to make sure that you get exactly the 3 milliliters. And if you go over, then you just can take your pipette and you kind of angle it. You would squeeze and take out the amount that you don't need. Okay, so there's two different ways that we're using our graduated cylinders to get this volume. For your notes, you're not going to have a formula here, so you can just cross that out. And that is how you find the volume of a liquid.